Hey everybody, Greg here, and I am in Coralville at the Iowa River Power Company. And in this video, we're going to look at the bike ride heading west from here on 5th Street. I've already posted some videos showing the ride going north to the Iowa River Landing, heading east to the dog park and then the Peninsula neighborhood over there, and south, which connects up eventually to the Clear Creek Trail. So when we are at this point here by the bridge, you can see the river here, and this is basically the spot in the trail where I've been starting these videos, because here is the informational sign that you'll see, and it kind of gives you an idea of where you'll get to if you head in these different directions. I'm gonna take the sidewalk here and then ride along this railroad track that you see. Now there's possibly going to be some wind noise and some noise from traffic, so if that happens, I'm just going to stop talking for a little while until it quiets down. And something I want to point out that I mention in my various videos is that rather than mixing it up with semi trucks and other traffic, I generally suggest that you go ahead and take a pedestrian route. And the reason for that is that when you have a walk light, there's no ambiguity about who has the right of way. Sometimes depending on the traffic and where you're at and the drivers, some people are a little confused about who has the right of way, a car or a bicycle, and I think for some folks they feel like, well, whoever has the biggest vehicle has the right of way, so I'm crossing the street here, and it doesn't really matter so much when you're on this eastbound ride. Actually, I'm sorry, westbound ride. It doesn't matter as much which side of the road you take. I'll point out some of the sites on the other side, that south side of the street. An advantage to being here on this north side of 5th Street is that the sidewalk is pretty much unobstructed, whereas you can see on the other side there may be pedestrians walking on the sidewalk, and some of the cars may pull forward a little bit when they're parking, and that might cover portions of the sidewalk. The sidewalk over there has two levels. There's a higher level that's closer to the store entrances, and then apartments above you can see. And so bus stops and that type of thing. So it can be a little bit challenging to navigate if you're on a bicycle over there. And if you want to be in the street, then you have to contend with maybe a car is going to pull out and they won't see you. But I want to point out here, with this new development, it's a great example of an effective use of having mixed use space. So we have businesses down below. Some of these are they're small spaces, which means they would generally be affordable for a local business, and that's really nice to have, rather than just these large expensive commercial spaces that are only going to be affordable to a national brand. So anyway, and there's a nice use of stone on the surface there, And I don't know if these are apartments or condos, but anyway, it makes for a really pleasant feel. And as we continue heading west here on 5th, you'll see some additional homes on the left that look like sort of a townhouse format. And those go all the way back. So there's quite a bit of new housing here in Coralville. I didn't point out the sign, which was about a block behind me, but this area here is referred to as the Old Town. The Old Town Coralville. And so a couple of historic landmarks are coming up here, which I'll point out when we get there, but just wanted to show you the view from here. And that trail kind of winds off in the distance there, is really quite nice. You can take that and head south a little bit and then turn right to continue west or left to continue east. But just a really nice trail that winds around by the river, or by the water there. So the buildings coming up here, there are two of them. One of them is an old schoolhouse here. I'm going to point that out, and you can see the bell there. And then this building on the right is the old courthouse, which was relocated. And this sign provides a little more information about that. I'll spend a little bit of time here. If you want to freeze the video at your end, you can kind of pause that and read what's on the sign. But basically it makes this a nice, historic area. And that, essentially, that marker there that you see is the beginning of the Old Town. So 5th Street was really, I would say, completely renovated. There's wider sidewalks available on both sides of the street. You'll see in the street there's an indication that cars would be driving slowly and sharing the street with the bicyclists. Now on the left, I just want to point out there's some of these are older homes that have been here for a while, and older style apartments. But in a short distance ahead, you'll see we have some newer construction again. Now I could stay here on this north side of 5th Street, but I'm going to look for a break in the traffic flow here and work my way across the street so I can show you this development here, 424. You'll see again another development where there's a mix of what looks like apartments above, and then in these lower spaces these can be rented out. It looks like there's some underground parking access as well, which is nice. So quite a bit of commercial retail space down here. on the ground level. Really high visibility on the street numbers, which is nice. Bike parking, and some more of the same. Still quite a bit of development to go. Parking on one side of the street here, you can see on the south side of 5th. And that sidewalk on the other side continues, but it's not quite as, nice and spacious as here on the south side of 5th. And you'll notice where before the storefront sidewalk was pretty narrow, and then there was the other sidewalk, which is car parking access sidewalk, so it was kind of cramped. That's improved here, I would say. Now, if you've ridden this far, you'll be in for a little bit of a surprise, as the sidewalk just kind of ends abruptly and there's no ramp. So you'll want to, if you want to stay on the bike, kind of curve back around here onto this sidewalk. And then there is a ramp access here, or you can keep going on kind of the older, narrower sidewalk. One of the problems with these narrower sidewalks is, as you can see, there's not really enough room if there are other cyclists or pedestrians trying to share that sidewalk. And that can create some problems. This area here has yet to be developed. And this intersection of 5th Street and 10th Avenue tends to be a busy one, but if you'll scoot on through here, you'll find yourself again in a nicely developed urban space with the wider sidewalks and some business, commercial, retail spaces here on the left. On any of these storefront sidewalk areas where you might look to the street and think, that's a little bit narrow for, you got two cars coming and going in either direction, and you're trying to ride your bike in there, cars backing out, so you're going to be tempted to ride on the sidewalk. But keep in mind that you really want to keep it probably at like 5 miles an hour in here, because there are storefronts that just open right out into the sidewalk here. So you might have a door swing right into your face, or you might just startle somebody who's not expecting a cyclist to go by at 15 or 20 miles an hour. So, just kind of keep it reasonable. So I've turned left here. I'm heading south into this large area where you'll find, a lot of businesses around the perimeter, plenty of parking in the middle. And I'm going to work my way through this parking lot. There's a nice walkway here with trees on either side. Visibility is kind of limited for the drivers, so you want to be careful you're not startling people by just kind of zipping out into the road. People aren't going to be expecting that. But again, if you keep it slow and kind of be extra alert, you should be okay. So here you'll notice, as we finish working our way across this parking lot, we'll be at the New Pioneer Co-op. And this is the sort of connecting hub where I have the videos in this area come to finish up here, or they begin here, because the New Pioneer Co-op is a great location here in Coralville. Given that, from this location, I'll go ahead and just mention that you can get out there to 2nd Street, and just in like half a block you can cross over into an amazing trail network over there in the woods. and you can head further west, or you can head east across there. And you've just seen in this video how you can take 5th Street and get back to Iowa River Power. And you can also take 5th Street or 2nd Street, and you can head on further west in Coralville, and there's more to see and do out there, and there are more trails out that way. I'll finish up by just showing you that there's, you know, plentiful bicycle parking here at the Coralville New Pioneer Co-op, and as well as some hanging bike racks, and then a handy bicycle repair stand as well. And you know, I like to feature businesses in these bicycle trail videos that are bicycle friendly, and the co-op is one of those. So if you do any shopping here at the co-op, you can get a card that they will, it's sort of like a stamp card, but they actually sign it, and you can get credit toward your purchases for riding a bike. So anyway, there's the familiar entrance. Thanks again for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear those. Appreciate your support, and have a great day.